to do a headphone so we don't have any echo.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
We can see you. You're wearing your hat, man. It's
That's
awesome.
for you, brother. I knew you would appreciate that.
And Andrew and Jamie are here.
What?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We need to make the call of, should we do a couple and then introduce them, or introduce them and have...
Yeah, that's a good question. It kind of depends on if they say anything funny that I want to use in the intro.
Yeah. All right, give me your best bit right now.
You just introduce them right away, you know?
Hold on. Can all these reach?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. We need to get closer. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, good.
I can hear you, and then I can hear Andrew laugh every once in a while.
He sounds a lot like me.
A little
This
bit.
is Jason.
Yeah, I guess.
Hello. Hey, this is Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Yeah, he doesn't sound that much like you, Jason. It's distinguishable.
He used to sound a lot like me.
Yeah, but then his testes dropped, and
My testes dropped.
now he's
Or he
sounds
got
like
kicked.
himself.
What? It sounds like an insult.
No. That was just I'm sure before puberty, you both sounded exactly the same.
Hold on, I'm still working on the headphones. All right. Let's introduce them at the get-go. But I think they're going to be on the quiet side. But that'll be all right.
Yeah.
But if they want to chime in on any of your stuff,
No, they absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you giving them any of your 5?
yeah, I'm giving them 2 of my 5, one each.
Well, that's important to explain at the beginning, probably too.
Yeah.
So how are you guys doing? It looks like you guys are having fun.
Yeah, I'm having fun. This is Jason.
She can't really hear.
You can't hear?
Here. So she might just do it.
No, you can switch back and forth.
Oh, let's switch back and forth. All right.
How much of a bummer does it have if there's the mic or the headphones?
We'll take the headphones out for now. Let's see.
Okay, how's that sound?
Your sound is okay. It's going to be on my end. That's the problem.
I know. Can you hear the echo?
Yes.
No.
I just vote no.
Hold on.
I just want to watch.
No. Dirty rat. There's a set of headphones out in the Prius. Go run and get the purple ones. They're in the back seat. Andrew, you do it.
Okay.
Perfect. We're not working on all 4 cylinders.
No,
All
I
right.
imagine not.
Is it my week to start?
It is, but give them a second to get set up, man. What's the rush here? Relax.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just had a bunch of coffee.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
So these don't work. Should we throw them away? Or it's just the microphone side that works, though. That's the one that needs to work. Which side works?
The right.
He's locked out. He's locked out.
This is fantastic.
I know, because I need to let people know. I put a sign outside my door that says I'm on the air.
Okay. Put it in this here. You being able to put it in this here?
Okay, we're gonna try again. Here's headphone check 6.
All right. Can they
Okay.
hear?
Try this.
Are
Try
we getting
this.
signals that they can hear?
Yeah.
We
Can you hear now? Can you hear now? We're in.
You're in.
Everybody's in.
Everybody? Oh, fantastic.
That's awesome. Fantastic. And you look good, man.
Well, I feel good. So that's
I wish I had a camera. So
yeah,
you
no, I do too. I want to see the setup you guys got going there now.
$7. I
19 people in the room. It'd be nice to see what some of them look like, you know?
All right. This is 5 Best with Greg Richards coming from San Antonio.
Hold on a second now.
What? 5 Best.
I like your
Yeah, no, but you just jump right in, man. We gotta
I know,
we gotta
'cause
talk for a couple minutes.
Why?
Because then I gotta splice it up for the intro. You listen to this every week. We do this every single week.
I know. Okay. Let's.
For example, I've never met Andrew's wife. I don't know her.
We should probably have a camera.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But Jamie, how are you? I'm Greg. It's nice to meet you.
I'm great. It's nice to meet you too.
Jamie sounds almost as excited as Jason.
Yeah.
I'm really quiet.
We're on the same spectrum.
Yeah, no, barely. Jamie, are you from California also?
I am. I'm from Sacramento originally.
Oh, nice. I've got a friend who lives close to Sacramento. Jason and I
Yeah.
both have a friend who lives kind of close to Sacramento.
Yeah, Phil. We'll have to get you on that liturgy. Do you give him any money?
No, but I want to.
Me too. Because he's doing a lot of work.
I'm hoping he'll be able to spend that he'll be able to spend my desire to give him money. Because
He on his last week's that Ezekiel video, or no, Ecclesiastes. He did an Ecclesiastes video. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't watch it.
It was
I
a
saw it was
4-minute
there.
video.
Yeah.
It was the best part of my sermon this
Yeah?
Sunday. Yeah, just I just played off because it's the video. The premise of the video, the main point that I learned from the video was the teacher, and they don't assume it's Ecclesiastes, but is just a character in the book.
Right.
Because it's got the 1-verse introduction and it's got like the 8 verses at the end or 6 verses at the end that's written by somebody else. And I used that and just said, man, that was the best part of the sermon. But that's one of my 5 best is sucking on tanking that sermon. But we'll get to that in a
Sounds
second.
like a good one. I have. Oh man, we should take 10 seconds and do a nice plug for Phil's site again, and then we'll put that at the end of we'll put that like a commercial at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, I'll forward it to Jamie and Andrew.
Yeah.
And then they'll.
So the short of it is, if you're anybody who does anything with lectionary texts, this is like the best resource in the world.
So
Yeah, I think it is too.
Yeah, it just shows up in your email every Monday or Tuesday, and it's got all the readings and the alternate readings and all that, and you just kind of go, and they've got historical commentary stuff, they've got worship service stuff,
That's
they've got
cool.
song selections.
One guy.
Yeah, it's just a
And
friend of ours, Phil Majorns, puts this out, and you can donate to him, you can pay for it, but he also gives it to you for free just as a resource. Jason and I eventually are going to pay for it.
You should sell them.
We
I've
both
been
wanna
playing
pay
the
for it.
lotto, and whenever he gets 1/10. He gets 1/10.
I'm legitimately going to legitimately give him some
Me
money.
too.
this month,
Me too. The Griffiths family, we're in, Phil. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that it's not even for picture. I love it. I love that it's a doorway. Like I don't think
Yeah.
you have to be a lectionary person or like a mystic.
yeah.
But you could. But it's. I remember when Logos first came out. You remember the Bible software?
Yeah.
And my Greek professor said there's just so many dissertations just at your fingertips. It's so accessible and you can go so deep. I feel almost the same way about Phil's. Like I think it's a really good introduction, and it's also, if you want to follow the rabbit trails, you can.
They're there. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do some serious. He's a deep well, man. He looks good too. He's a triple threat. He's got the music,
point,
he's got the depth, and he's the eye candy,
Yeah. All the things you want.
Yep.
Now, not all of that comes through in the actual email, but yeah,
I think your face is turning red.
it's definitely red. It's hard when somebody articulates so clearly what you've always felt about your best friend.
You think that's enough? 10 seconds? 10 seconds for Phil?
I'm sure we could trim that down to about 10, yeah.
All right, let's start it.
All right, go ahead. You're up, dude. It's an odd number week. You're on.
Yeah, and this is 5 best with Greg Riches coming from you to you from San Antonio, Texas. He's a pastor, and he's an Anglican, and he's a lover of God and family, and he doesn't own any guns, but it's okay.
But they still let me live here, so that's
Yeah,
nice.
they still let you live there in Texas. And I'm Jason, and this is a special. And I'm Jason Griffiths. I live out here in Muskegon, Michigan. And my little brother, who's 17 years younger, I've mentioned him before on the 5 best because he's been, one of the best or something like that. Him and his bride, Jamie, and they're coming up on their 1-year anniversary. They're out here visiting, and they're staying with the Griffiths family. I'm going to give the Griffithses of the Pasadena, because they're both Fuller students, I'm going to give them 2 of my 5. So,
All right.
and I'll start with my number 1. My number 1 thing that popped off the page this week. Hold it. Wait for it. Roast battle. I don't know if you got this.
Oh my gosh.
Is it on yours?
No, but I only took it off out of holiness.
I dug it, man.
Oh,
And
man.
it was an ode to your, like a little nod to your Canadian, because
Yep,
you
yep.
did your seminary stuff in Canada and stuff like that. And it was cool that it happened in Canada. I guess there's a comedy festival. It's the biggest in the world that happens in Canada.
Yep.
And that guy, Jeff, whatever his name is, Jeff Ross.
Yeah.
I highly recommending watching all of them. But it crosses. It's disgusting, and it like
Yes,
it's
multiple
parental
lines. Yeah.
advisory. The reason it made my 5 best isn't because it was pretty funny. I give it like an 8 out of 10 funny. But the person who won
Yeah.
crushed it was almost I kept thinking of when James in the book of the Bible, when he talks about in the first chapter, the tongue can be set on fire by the flames of hell, and it's a rudder, it steers the whole ship. There were moments, I don't know, did you catch those moments in amongst the humor when, despite all attempts, the comedian that was being attacked, it went straight to their heart, like it crushed them.
Yeah.
And you could feel their pain over the television. Like,
Yeah,
it was
that
like-
was definitely the best part.
it was crazy, and especially because it was the last battle, and it was a girl versus a guy, and I think the guy's name was Mike.
Yeah.
And he did some joke, and I don't even remember the joke, but you could see it like just stab this
It caught
woman
her so off guard, right? Like,
deeper than she was ready for, even though she had all her defenses up.
she was
in the
really
middle of
good
a
too.
roast.
She was really good.
I think she was the funniest comic there.
She's like second on my list. I really thought the only thing I complained about that entire series, besides the way over the line stuff, was I thought the judging was terrible.
Mm-hmm. They let that pretty boy go. And do you remember the guy who ended up dressing like a knight?
Yeah.
That guy should have lost. But whatever his name is.
Yeah, he should have lost in the very first one, and he didn't.
Yeah, he should have lost in the first one.
And then he lost in the next one when he should have. I thought the British guy leaps and bounds.
He should have won the whole
funnier
thing
than
again.
everybody else. Yeah, that wasn't even close.
Yeah. I think David Spade's comment, what's the magician doing with the clipboard? That was
kind of like the takeaway from watching the judges. The judges the first night were just so floored at what they were seeing, but their responses were more accurate, I thought. Like the last 2 nights, I watched every single battle, and I think half of them I felt were the exact opposite of the way the judges went.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think it should have been the girl and the British guy.
Yep.
And I think I almost would have went with the girl. Like I think her material she was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it was, what lost it. Remember when he cut straight to her soul? She couldn't even respond.
Yeah, that lost it for her.
Yeah,
well, she had one joke that kind of flopped.
That was like the most human moment, because everybody's had that day where you're like, just don't insult me.
Well,
and then somebody says something, and boom.
What's funny about that to me is in the British guy versus Earl, whatever his last name is. So Jimmy versus Earl.
Yeah.
Like Earl had 2 of those that just didn't connect, and the crowd still gave it to him, or the judges still gave it to him. I was like, what in the world? That was just strange. So
that was strange.
That was my only complaint about the whole thing. I watched every one of those and thoroughly enjoyed them. So, well, in an effort to make myself appear much smarter than you, mine
are all dumb.
My number one is not a roast battle, but my number one is Malcolm Gladwell's new podcast, Revisionist History. I don't know if you've had a chance to check this thing out yet or not, but it's fantastic.
Put it right down. Gladwell?
Yeah. So the author who wrote all the books that you've heard of that he wrote, like Blink and Outliers and all that stuff. He's got a podcast, like an 8-part podcast that he's doing, and each episode is him taking a slice of something in history and kind of re-looking at it from a different direction. The best one so far, there's I think he's done 6 of them already, but my favorites are he talks about Wilt Chamberlain free throw shooting, which is really like just an interesting phenomenon about NBA players who won't shoot underhand and why they won't shoot underhand when it would improve their free throw shooting. So that one's interesting. There's one on.
Is it legal still?
Like granny style?
Yeah, you're allowed to do it. Nobody will do it because they look terrible.
Yeah.
But they
would
make
probably-
like historically they make like a ridiculously higher percentage of shots shooting underhand.
Yeah, because Wilt the stilt, is like 7
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And so when he raises his hands, it's almost throwing a ball straight
Down.
at a hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he switched to it for like a season and a half and improved his free throw shooting by like 30%. Which when the night he scored 100, he was shooting underhand from the free throw line and he made all of his free throws. The guy one of the guys arguing says if he had shot underhand, he just scored 104 or 5 more times at least.
Wow.
But it's because the only thing you could do to Wilt Chamberlain back in those days was just foul him and make him shoot free throws because he was a terrible free throw shooter until he switched to underhand and then he switched back, which is the part that's crazy. So
It's just
yeah, it's just
wow.
nuts. And so Gladwell explores why that is. That was a really interesting one. The other one is he talks about giving money to colleges and like these enormous donations to colleges, like $100 million or more. And that almost every one of those has gone to a school with a huge endowment already. And so he talks about why that is. Like, why do we give money to places that already have a lot of money?
yeah.
And what
Why does
do we
money attract money? That's a really
yeah. And so he has this idea about strong links versus weak links. And like we think of education as a strong link system where if the best of the best just get better, then the entire system will be better. And so he compares that to like the NBA. So if you have a superstar in the NBA, the better your superstar is, the better your team is. But then he says weak link is more like soccer, where the worst player on your team is the one who's going to determine how far you go in soccer. And he argues that we should be thinking about education as weak link instead of strong link. And so we should be giving those $100 million to schools that don't have the endowments, specifically to raise up the education of everybody. That's an interesting argument. And then the one you'll be most interested in is he does an entire podcast on creativity and Elvis Costello. And he also looks at the song Hallelujah and kind of the way that became a hit for Buckley and never for the guy who originally wrote it. So that's a good podcast.
Right on. I'll have to, because we should mention that we're going to be taking a couple weeks off because they're going to be going on vacation. So that'll give me something to go. And one of our things, we might be going to New York. So boom, we'll listen to podcasts.
Podcast on the way, man.
Pot it up. My number 2, that's not a saying.
No, and nor should
number
it.
2, we're gonna my this last Sunday. Tons of prep. Message came to me early. Got up there and delivered it, and just tanked. Like I set up and anybody that's been a preacher or stood in front of a crowd and felt like just laid a goose egg. That was this last Sunday. And the reason it made my 5 best, I love those because juxtaposition. Remember, we've been talking about this the last couple weeks. I think it's been an honor and a privilege to just feel God's word like flowing through me, and it showed up kind of last minute. This time it came, and it's my own arrogance got in the way, and there's so many aspects of preaching and being a pastor that I like, but this is yet another one. I like that it's learning as you go, and it's like kind of putting the plane together as you fly. And sometimes you just make a misstep and God just says, okay, you're thinking too highly of yourself. You got too big of britches. And it was a humbling, good experience to tank my last sermon right before going on vacation.
Is that what the congregation said? That it was a humbling, good experience for them to listen to?
I have it on my 5 best, mainly not because it's one of the best, but it's kind of one of those things I kind of have to mention because it's a major piece of my dialogue with God right now. Just like
Yeah.
That's I'm saying I'm sorry to God a bunch, and he's saying, man, I love you. So it's
That's awesome.
yeah. So
It raises a side thing for me. I want Andrew and Jamie.
By the way, no,
Yeah.
before you go, your sermon nailed it.
Really?
It was. I think that we should dovetail that one in, because as a just tanked mine, I get yours in the like on the email form, and I listen. I'm like, man, I kind of needed that. I needed a little feeding, you know.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that connected for you.
Say whatever.
I wasn't sure.
Say.
I had like zero sense of it, but I was gonna ask you and Andrew and Jamie. I'm curious about this because like when I watch sports and stuff, there's always this idea that a player reaches their prime. So there's like an age where you're the most equipped to do what you're designed to do in sports, right? And so, and then you can still be really good, but you're kind of in your tailing off period, and then you're just terrible. I'm wondering what that age is for pastors. Because it seems to me like you're right about the learning as you go part, and that's a huge piece of pastoring. And I imagine even like older pastors would tell us that doesn't stop being true. But I also wonder, is there sort of a peak, like this is when we hit our prime, or have we already missed our prime, or whatever? But it strikes me that pastoring can't be like it's not physically the same kind of demand. So it's not like when you're 30, you're at your prime or something. But there has to be like a confluence of your ability to relate to the people in your congregation, along with your ability to listen to God and to know God and to share God, right? So I'm curious, what do you guys think?
Well, I think yeah, that part you were talking about, like kind of building credibility, and like I think that does take a long time. But yeah, I think yeah, as long as you match the congregation, I don't think I think the age would have to be like the age of the congregation. That's what I think.
I want to guess out of either one of you. What do you think?
Yeah, I want a number.
Oh,
I want a number. Yeah,
Oh,
get a number out of this guy's.
I would say my
Jason,
dad-
you're going to be this old, and you should sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
I think once you're my dad's age, I think then no more. Just because,
65.
just seeing him.
How
Though.
old is he? He's 65.
Yeah.
Okay, so that raised. We'll come back to that.
65,
Remind me about
okay.
your dad's
That's
age in a
him.
little bit. Yeah.
I completely like 65.
Jamie says 65 too.
I think
Wait,
like
you guys say
retirement maybe
65 is the
for
prime?
norm, like for
65 is the prime.
Or then you're too old.
that's when you should stop. I think.
He says retirement age. Might as well just die, you know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
This is for all you older listeners out there.
I think at that moment, I think it would, because I think you've gained so much wisdom. I think it'd be awesome to be like a counselor, like a mentor. Like I had Jason set me up with this awesome guy that was older, and he had so much experience. Like it was more like personal. Like I felt like the personal setting would be way better like suited for learning from.
Yeah. I can see that. We don't have that structured anywhere in our kind of Christian life where that's like a position that you can aspire to, right? But it would be good if we did.
We kind of have one that I keep thinking of Eugene Peterson. You know, I think.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to his sermons, but
I don't know that I've ever heard his sermons. Yeah.
I listen to him talking about teaching people how to preach and teaching people how to learn from God and stuff like that. What do you think the prime is? Like, where do you think the prime age? I'm kind of scared to hear it.
I don't know. I think you're in your prime.
40.
Like 40 to 50, I would say, would be like the prime.
40 to 50.
Yeah.
I think you're still like I think you might even hit it to come because you've been like
been really bad
full-time
up until
pastor.
now.
Yeah. You kind of do remind me of someone in practice.
No.
Hey, did you hear your sermon on Sunday? It was terrible.
That's another plus to my 5 best is I get to choose what goes online and what doesn't. And so
Yeah, I lost that. I lost that copy. I don't know what happened.
All right, where are you on now? I think
Yeah. So anyway, I think that I think 45 to kind of 55 might be my window. I'm not positive, but I'm curious about it because I think it's similar to like a writer's prime. Like, but so to tack onto that, your dad's 65, right? Can
Yeah.
you imagine everybody running for president is over 68? Isn't that ridiculous? I can't
is.
even. I know I sound ageist every time I say that, but it's just
don't think
astonishing to
they-
me that we have old people running for president and nobody blinks at how old they are.
Yeah. Do you remember when I think we've already brought this up, but do you remember when Urban Outfitters put out
Yeah.
that T-shirt, "Voting is for old people,"
Yeah,
and
That's
people, there was such a huge backlash, but it's probably one of the most honest T-shirts that was ever made.
especially by those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, I think it's your two.
All right. My second one is last week I talked about the crazy construction job I did in my house to build this Murphy bed.
Oh yeah.
This week, our intern program that we started 3 or 4 years ago we're transitioning it a little bit so we can start incorporating students more.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and so part of that is moving out of the house that we've been in for the last 4 or 5 years. So that was a huge kind of thing for me in terms of emotionally. It's weird to kind of be moving to this next season of what we're doing, and then physically, it's just exhausting. Like, whenever you can move an entire house full of beds and couches in like 110-degree weather, you should definitely do that. It was just, like it was just, I was just dripping sweat like crazy, and it was, and you like we've talked about moving before, how much fun that is, but yeah, so it was, but I think just being able to look back and say like that was a season of this program. It was something we started and we've completed, and it's just really cool. So that's a shout out to that and to the move and all that stuff. That was one of my 5 best for sure.
Nice. Now, is Laura, what's her husband's name?
Mark.
They bought that place, right?
That's right. Yeah, Laura and Mark. She's DeGears. He.
Yeah.
He.
And they live in China?
Well, they live in San Antonio now. They just moved back.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Is that why you're moving out? They're moving back into this house?
No. It was just it really was just a switch in how we're doing the programming. We just don't this year we don't need a house that big, so it just ends up being cost like prohibitive to do it.
I sure like that, Laura.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure she married somebody awesome too. What? Just side topic. You might need to edit this all out, but what happened to Andrew? What's Andrew doing?
He's still hanging out in San Antonio also.
Have you seen him?
Every once in a while. He's got a huge beard.
I know. I saw that on Facebook. He looks like he's growing a bird's nest or something.
Yeah, every time I see him, he's up to something else. I have no idea what that actually is now.
Okay.
Our paths don't cross all that often, just every once in a while.
So did you use the moving time as a time of reflection?
A little bit, yeah. Like it was a little bit of like, man, I can't believe we're done in this spot. And then it was a weird day because it also, one of the girls who had lived in the house was actually getting married that day.
Wow.
So that was also kind of crazy. Like there was a bunch of these moments that kind of all came together in the same weekend. So it was like, wow, this is nuts. But yeah, it was cool.
I like those. Did you get to purge it all?
Like we didn't burn it down or anything.
No, no, like just get rid of crap.
Oh yeah, we got rid of a ton of stuff.
That's cool. All right, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm sorry I wasn't there to help.
Me too.
Number 3, my number 3, The Bachelor. The Bachelor finale was on Monday night, and I don't know.
It's not even The Bachelor, right? Isn't it The Bachelorette?
It was The Bachelorette. It was The Bachelorette.
Okay.
But it was a pretty good season. Bachelorette was a pretty good season. It was JoJo, and she had a choice between like this younger guy who was all in like week 2, and this guy that was slower to express his love, a guy named Jordan Rogers, Aaron
Rodgers' brother, right?
And and that's what actually is my number 3 is when they show up as a couple for the first time, and that host guy, Chris, whatever, asks them, what about the drama about you, Jordan, and your family? Because I guess there's some kind of feud going on with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Rodgers and the Rodgers family, or something's happened.
Yeah.
But the way that this guy handled himself was, I think he's like 28, like he's a young kid. It was it far superseded that age. He just handled it with maturity, and I was very impressed. He had just like, that's not an issue. That's not what this show's about. That's not what my life's about. Let's just talk about JoJo and I and our future. And I was just very impressed because there were, it's all fluff, and like usually my favorite parts are the train wreck part, when somebody's pulling somebody's hair out, or you get a nice slap across the face or something. But I liked the glimmer of diamond character that was at the heart of this. It's kudos to the Rodgers family. I don't know what they're doing, but I think they're doing something right, because they got one son who's a quarterback of Green Bay, which you're partial towards.
A little partial.
And then they got another guy that's on television that knows he has his feet underneath him, and he knows that this show is a flash in the pan compared to how important the family is. And I was really impressed with that kid.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't know anything about The Bachelorette, so.
Still, he's rocking the V and he's got the skinny jeans. So
I'm sure. Yeah, that sounds right.
For the film,
like,
Jordan, in us.
Oh man, dude, I don't even know what to say about that one. That was just, I cannot.
I kind of, my first thought was, because a couple weeks ago, this almost made my 5 best, and I said, I'm gonna make this one of my 5 best, and I'm just gonna say, Green Bay Packers are horrible people.
Why would you do that?
just to throw a grenade in towards San Antonio,
That may be true. I don't know, but oh man, yeah. So I have a long-standing. I don't watch The Bachelorette or The Bachelor, so I've never seen an episode of either one. And I do feel like that makes me morally superior. So.
More of a Christian, I would say.
Yeah, for sure, closer to Jesus. But
yeah, I would say that. I would vote yes on that.
Yeah.
But we'll take this moment of kind of awkward deadness to listen to Beyonce's Lemonade.
Oh boy.
I'll send you one. I got a copy in the mail coming
my way.
Yep.
Yeah, I still have not listened to that. Believe it or not, I somehow failed. What's amazing to me is that there's so much to watch. Like so much to watch, and you always navigate towards just the worst stuff.
I love the human drama. I love it. I love the messiness. But
you do.
Yeah, I do. I still have yet to see. Was Sunday nights the night of any good?
Yeah. This one was the worst of the series so far.
That's what I'm scared of what they're going to do with the prison stuff.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Okay, good.
They didn't go like super like American History X on it or anything.
That's what I'm nervous of. I hope they don't play. We get it.
So far, no. Okay. You're safe so far.
Good. I want them to keep it scary though, because prison life is definitely.
They do that. They do. They walk that line really well.
Good.
This episode.
All right. What's your 3?
My third one. This is a repeat of an old one, and it comes up every once in a while for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
But this week, I've just had a couple of just really good, deep, honest conversations with other Christians. Like I think as crazy as the election is and all of that kind of stuff, there's real chance to be reflective and honest and really dig. And so, I don't know. I've had a couple of conversations like that since we talked last, and those are just always super encouraging. I talked to a guy yesterday for about an hour and a half, just talking about this kind of stuff and what it looks like. What does it look like to be Christian in America right now? What do we owe to our culture? What do we owe to the kingdom? Those kinds of questions. And so, yeah, that's been for all the craziness and everything else that's going on with the election stuff. It is nice that people are open to having some of those conversations now that maybe they aren't always open to having. So
yeah, and I echo that. I think like I said last week, I think I was starting to get sucked in, and the Brewster's Millions kind of set me free.
Yeah,
And then,
as it will do.
as it will do,
Yeah.
Much like the Gospel of Mark in most people's cases.
Yeah.
But it's once you get past the defeated, I've like, as I've been set free and kind of just objectively looking at it and noting to self that, as a pastor, we need to minister to both. No matter what happens, we're going to be at the end of it just ministering to people. And so as I've been having those conversations, it's interesting that there'll be some bleakness, but then some deep stuff comes up. Like just the other day, I was in a conversation with a fellow follower of Jesus, and we did our average, like intro of, I can't believe it's going to be a choice between this two, the lesser of two evils, and blah, blah, blah. And then we got to, there was a genuine fear. He's getting close to retirement. Yeah. And he said, all the.
Hey, you still there? We dropped you completely.
Right now?
Oh, now you're back.
Back?
Back. He said he had this just legitimate fear as he was getting close to retiring.
That the money is just going to run out.
Yeah.
Because I guess the projected year is 2032. Social Security is going to be totally gone. And neither candidate, no candidate, like nothing is being said about that.
Yeah.
It was, I was just kind of echoing it is interesting that such a crazy election year is a foundation for good conversations.
So here's an insight that might help when you have these conversations. Because it for me, it was like, as soon as I realized it was like, oh, this is super important.
This is what I like about Greg.
So the insight was this: they're both really American, right? Like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, at their core, are really American. Like, there's no, like, I just remember, like, one of the guys I was talking to, he was just going off on one of them, and I said, yeah, but you can't argue that they're like America. Like, they're the kind of, they're who we are. I mean,
yeah,
they misrepresent a ton of things politically and all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, they're who America is, right? Like, we're made up of people like that, and we have parts of that in us. And so I think there's, like, once we can kind of name that reality of it, like, yeah, they'll probably both be terrible presidents. Like, I'm not.
Well, we're terrible people.
Yeah. But I'm not of the opinion that you get to be president and be a good person to start with. You have to give that up to be president anyway. So the quality of their personhood does not bother me at all, because that's how you become president. But when it comes to actually,
doesn't that guy nail it?
Preach.
Greg, you nail it. I think that changes the whole game. Much like when you changed my whole perspective of Church Dogmatics by Karl Barth.
There you go.
It's an orchestra thing. I think that question just changes, like, that statement.
Right.
Changes the game, because that's the fastest way through the rhetoric of,
I think so.
She's terrible. He's a bully. You know.
I think that's right. That's both true.
The fastest way through that stupid little conversation is that everybody's having is they're both crazy Americans.
Right. Truth. That's just, and you should see yourself in both of them, probably, if you're paying any attention, right?
Yep. I see myself more in Hillary,
Really?
Yeah, her ensembles. I really like them.
I want a picture for I think that's our T-shirt, Jason. You in a pantsuit.
Yeah. The highlights. Have you seen Larry Whitmore or Larry Wilmore or whatever that guy? Whoever replaced Jon Stewart or Colbert, whatever. I don't know. That guy. He has the unblackening of America.
Okay.
just look for that online, and just his intro to that is just it's awesome. He's got Trump with these little hands going "Rah, rah," like a dinosaur, and then he's got Hillary looks like a demon. It's just awesome. I think that's a really good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That guy's really funny, like really funny.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm in. He almost made my 5 best a couple times, but I'm saving him.
yeah, I don't
Maybe
watch his
after
show
vacation.
enough. Like when I watch him, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's pretty good, and he's really funny. But even outside of that, like he's just a brilliant writer on some other stuff
Mhm.
that we like. But the other thing I wanted to add to this one, while we're just kind of talking about it, is beyond just that they're both American. This seems like the natural sort of. This is where elections have to go eventually, right? Like
Yeah.
the way we're structured and set up as a people is it has to go this direction. There's whether it's this time or the next time or whenever, it has to become about fame and celebrity and insults and people not understanding and all that. Like it has to. There's I don't know. It feels determined that way already. Like I don't know.
I think what's interesting about this one, you remember, because I ran for class president in Biola, and my platform, if I kind of had one, was if you want something different, you can't vote for the same kind of person. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And I think that what's interesting about this election is this is that to the extreme.
Yes.
Like
sort of, right?
Yeah, because Trump is nothing like
Right.
a Republican, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I don't think Hillary isn't the safe choice. You know, like I don't know. I think like I think they're both candidates that are outside the bounds
Yeah.
in opposite
for
ways.
sure. The problem for me is Hillary is the prototypical politician. Like I think she's like the dead center middle of the bounds of what politicians are. Which makes me really nervous about her too, right? I mean, I think you're right though. Like there is this, and that's why Trump's where he is, because he can pull the outsider stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a more insider politician than Hillary. I can't think of anybody in my head that if you were to just ask me to name quick, say politician, one of the Clintons would be the first ones I said. I don't know which one, but one of them would be.
You may have corrected me, but I still think she's a little.
She's still a woman, which is an advantage in some ways, right? Like that's
but I still think that's. There's all those, like that one guy that ran, who spoke right before Michelle Obama. I forget that senator's name. I feel like he is more of a mainline, like straight. I could see how the Democrats think that Hillary's not your prototypical, but you could be right. I could be wrong. That's usually the case.
But it happens. But there's
that happens on a weekly basis.
no, but
All
it's still an interesting that they're able, like, it's fascinating that you can narrate the story that way, right?
Yeah.
That even somebody who spent her entire life in politics can narrate the story as an outsider. It's kind of interesting, but
it's good.
All right, that was yours or mine? That one was yours.
No, that was yours.
Oh yeah, that was mine. Okay, good.
I think we're on 4 now, and I think it's our 4, and I'm giving it to either Jamie or Andrew.
All right.
I'll go first because I feel like his is going to be better than mine.
Hey, Jamie, also for the record, you're the first female on this podcast ever. So.
Woohoo! Breaking barriers.
Breaking barriers all over the place.
Tell her about your mom.
My mom?
Yeah, she drives.
Oh, my mom listens to this podcast. She's crazy about it.
What?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love
know.
it.
That's what I was like, dude, it gives me goosebumps.
That's fantastic. Because I don't know your mom at all. That's awesome.
Right?
Shout out to Gretchen.
There you go,
For
Gretchen.
birthing.
For birthing me. All right, so my
Weird now.
what did you say? Oh, sorry.
If that's your
Okay.
fourth best, that's not gonna work. All right.
My best for the past few weeks, actually, it's kind of silly, but Rihanna came out with an album. I don't know if it was this year or last year, and it's called Anti. And I just love it. I'm the kind of person that kind of hipster, like I hate mainstream music. I hate everything on the radio. I feel like nowadays everybody's just kind of like screaming about random stuff. And
Yeah.
Rihanna came out with this like smooth R&B album, and I just can't get enough of it. I don't even know what it is specifically, but it's been playing over and over and over. It's like good driving music. It's like kind of like breakup music, angry, but like smooth R&B, and I just love it.
You're like the second or third person in my life who has brought this album up, but I haven't heard it yet.
You should listen to it.
I have a question about her though. And does she age at all ever?
That's funny. On the internet recently, I saw a picture of her like 10 years ago when she first came out, and then a picture of her today, and it's the same person.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know what she's doing, but it's like she has not aged at all.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know
I don't know that album at all.
Do you remember that there was a music award show, and I don't know if it made my top 5 or not, that it turned into a battle of the bands, and it was like she smoked everybody.
Yeah, I think you did say that.
Yeah, I think she was jazzy. I haven't heard the album either. Why is it called Anti?
I have no idea.
Is it like anti?
There's no name.
Is it like anti-rap or something like? Because she's normally like she sings about.
You said it's a good album, right?
What?
She said it was a good album, so it's probably anti all their other albums.
She's from Barbados, so she usually is more like reggae-y or like more rappy.
Yeah.
But this one, like she actually like exercises her vocal abilities, and like it's just more like.
She covers the
You
table.
got me interested. You got me interested. I'll look it up. I'll listen.
Hey, does she do the thing where she repeats one word 1,000 times? Because that one drives me crazy.
Work.
Yeah. I'm not really a fan of that one.
Or even maybe just repeats the sound of something 1 billion times. That one. She does Umbrella, right?
Yeah.
Umbrella. I like that song.
Oh man. Oh man. Of course you do.
It's not on it.
Oh. All right.
What's that song about?
Jimmy, I'm glad your mom listens
would
to
you
the
explain
podcast.
what that song's about?
About Umbrella?
Yeah.
I think it's about an umbrella.
We should call it Bianca.
Yeah.
What's she talking about right there? If you know what I mean.
Well, Jamie, I'm glad Jason gave you one of his 5 best. I'm sorry that it was Rihanna, but what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
That's awesome. Well, thank you for jumping on. That's cool.
Yeah.
This is
We got to listen. We
whole
got to
new
listen to that.
frontiers. Yeah.
Maybe exit the show with the Rihanna.
I might do that. I probably
Let's pray
will.
about that.
Unless your brother comes up with a really good one, then we'll use that one. But oh man, hey, I did listen. I did go back and watch the Colbert thing from last week with NAF.
Oh yeah,
That was
What'd you
pretty good. They're hard to watch because they just look so weird. You know what I mean?
they look like hippies.
Kinda like but it's just strange. I don't know.
But back to Bianca. Bianca's the one who turned me. I love Jenny Lewis. I like that girl.
Yeah.
That front girl is the girl singing.
She
She's
also looks a lot like somebody I know, so that threw me off the whole time too because I couldn't figure
Yeah.
out who she looked like. But man, she looks super familiar.
Yeah.
But that was cool. I put that as the outro to last week's podcast. So I think,
yeah.
So I just did
Take a
the
listen.
guns part.
Just the guns part?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I cut it down just to the guns part.
He's good, man.
It wasn't as
That
long
guy's-
as I thought it was going to be, but it worked.
Yeah,
good.
it's only a couple seconds.
Yeah,
But I
you
like
had
it.
it like this like transcendent emotional experience. People converting in the aisles and coming forward, but it wasn't like that.
I was crying.
Yeah, I know. That's what I heard.
I know, Jensen. You were crying again.
Again.
All right. Give me your 4.
All right, my 4th one is the show on Netflix, Stranger Things. Amazing. Andrew, I don't know if this is going to hit your wheelhouse or not, but Jason, it'll definitely hit your wheelhouse. It's it's set in 1984, and but the way it's filmed and like it's kind of like a cross between Goonies meets E.T. meets something super scary.
Meet
kinda-
your worst nightmare.
Yeah, it kind of feels like sort of a Stephen King kind of novel, but there's like I'm not going to tell you very much about it because I'm not going to give it away to anybody. But it's I'll say like I started like I had like 3 or 4 buddies who kept telling me to start this show, Phil being one of them. So I sat down. I was home by myself. I sat down one morning and started watching it, and I didn't stop until I was done. Like, it was ridiculous. It's a brilliant show on a bunch of levels. It feels super nostalgic when you're old, like we are, Jason, because it's like every movie we watched when we were kids. But it's like there's like this, shady government conspiracy kind of thing, and then there's all these like gifted and talented kids, and then there's teenagers. It just is like it's right in the sweet spot of like nostalgia and sentiment, but also being a really clever show. You'll dig it. You and Malia will like it a lot. Andrew, I've got no guarantees on that.
That's awesome. That's we need more of those too. I like that.
That one. It's the most surprising. Like I can't nowhere. Like wow.
Who stars in it? Is it like a Canadian thing or what?
No. It's like Netflix produced it. It's the biggest star in the show is Winona Ryder.
Oh, I like her.
She plays a mom. Yeah, she's great. She's great in it.
Remember, she was in like Aliens. Was it?
Yeah.
Is that a dream? Was she really in an Aliens film?
I don't. It does sound like a dream.
I think she was in an Aliens film.
She may have been.
She was like Sigourney's daughter or something.
Was that Winona Ryder? I thought it was.
I think it
else.
was.
It probably is. You
we'll
remember that kind of stuff, man. It probably is.
I like Winona Ryder.
Me too. She's really good, and that's also kind of funny because you have like this nostalgia with her anyway built in, right?
Yeah.
And then Matthew Modine's in it, and that's kind of funny too. Yeah, it's a really good show.
All right, I like it. That's your number. That's your number 4. Here comes our number 5. Here's Andrew Zachary Griffiths.
Let's see if he uses his well or not. Go ahead.
Guys. Thanks for having us on the show.
All guests of the 5 Bets podcast are staying in.
Yeah, I took a class. I go to Fuller Seminary with my wife, and it was theology of exile in the Old Testament, and I really liked it because it kind of broke the barrier. Usually, we read the Old Testament through like retribution theology. The Israelites mess up, God punishes them, blah blah. Like repeat, reset. But this class kind of made me challenge it, and in Ezekiel 4, like it talks about he's laying on his side, and he's basically like recreating the Babylonian like capture, seize, and exile, and he's physically like reenacting it and laying on his side for like 700 days, and then he has to switch, and it sounds like, because we're looking at it through refugee stuff, it sounds like he's like he's recounting the story.
Yeah.
And he's physically punishing himself. He's like giving himself like self-harm. Like, why would God like tell him to lay on his side for 700 days? And it sounds like he's experienced a lot of this trauma, and he's like blaming himself.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was just really interesting. Like, these people are a lot like the Syrian refugees, like right now. And so, but like 6,000 years before Game of Thrones, like if Game of Thrones was like a real world, but like,
there's a few ifs in there,
yeah. Ezekiel's just watching mothers eat their babies and like all of this crazy stuff. I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
That is really cool. Well, who taught your class?
What was his name? Jeremy Smoke. He's this USC professor usually, so he's kind of off the rocker. He says a lot of things that are like
controversial.
Yeah, like anti-Christian, but he's a Christian. He's sacrilegious.
Like heretical.
Yeah, heretical. That's the word. But I don't know. As I've been reading, I think the New Testament saved me, but reading the Old Testament, all the Old Testament classes I've been taking at Fuller, I really enjoy, and I think they kind of give me life more than New Testament classes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think what my own bias is sort of that direction as well, and it feels to me like we had an entire generation in the church that that by and large didn't need the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Like I think my parents' generation, they just didn't rely on it or read it or share it the same way. So I grew up in Sunday schools with like hearing stories about the Old Testament, but there was no real kind of, you didn't do any doctrinal or theological work out of the Old Testament. You just sort of told the fun stories that kids might remember. So you hear those, but then you don't understand the prophets at all. You have no context for why prophets would matter. And then on top of it, a guy named Scott McKnight wrote, he's a New Testament scholar, and he wrote something pretty recently that was like fantastic. But one of the points he made was none of his students could tell you why Jesus being the Messiah mattered. And it's because we don't know the Old Testament, right?
Yeah.
And so it's cool to hear that being engaged in different ways. The exile stuff is fascinating.
Yeah.
Like I'm convinced that imagery is much closer to what it means for the church to live in America than a lot of the other stuff we use from the Old Testament. We use Old Testament imagery for the church in America, but we use all the like chosen people, blessed land, all that kind of stuff, when I think we ought to be using exile language much more often.
Yeah.
Is there a label to that? Like you mentioned, Andrew, like the retribution theology. Is there a label to the other side? Like what we're talking about? Is there a label to this kind of theology? Is there like, the sacrificial atonement? Isn't there another side of that? I forget what, substitutionary atonement. There's a different sides. But what's the label to the side of? Is that just exilic, or
no?
Jewish.
That's part of it.
Maybe godly.
No, but the narrative, the sort of the Exodus narrative and then the exilic narrative, like the schools of thought that really camp there usually are liberation theology.
Yeah.
That's kind of their wheelhouse. It's I think that's the part that's trickier though, right? Is
because the liberation theologians have kind of run in that direction so far, so that
it makes it hard for anybody else to camp there.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is the part about the exilic thing that's tricky, and I think this is where the New Testament is super important. Is I think Paul in the New Testament is going to argue you're in exile, so what? Right? Like I think it's right to acknowledge that we don't have power, that we're not in control, that this isn't our home, and we're gonna live here. But then you lean into some of the prophetic stuff about how to live in exile, and then by the time you get to Paul, it's kind of like, yeah, you're in exile, but you have a home, and the home's waiting for you, right? You have citizenship somewhere else, and so this isn't your place, but you still submit to the authorities. You do these things that you would do in exile to stay alive.
Yeah.
And and there's a way that image. The problem, or one of the struggles with liberation stuff, is, hey, we're in exile, we should fight our way out.
Yeah.
That's not. I don't think that's the tone of the New Testament on that. So it's how do you have a appreciation for exile while being in exile that allows you to bless your city and plant gardens and do those kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Is that fair, Andrew?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's crazy that Paul, like that's just crazy. You don't tell like a person grieving, like it's okay, like you're gonna get to the other side. I think it's good to dwell like in the, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that's a good point. I think,
Nice. I'm with you.
I wanted to. That's one of the special. I asked, just to be fair, I wanted to let everybody know that I asked Jamie and Andrew. I want something flashy. I want something hip. You guys are learning new things. I want to dialogue a little bit because they're right in the middle of their seminary, and I just hearing Andrew and Jamie wrestle with these thoughts brings me back, and it's healthy because I think we need to stay in the question mode a lot longer. I think this comes up a lot on our podcast, but we get to answers too quick. I think we have solutions before we. I said this to my congregation a couple weeks ago. I think we're giving our people around here we're telling the world answers to questions they're not asking, like,
Yes.
and we need to first that I don't want to talk too long, but my wife she just read this news article about how we've been going about teaching the wrong way for so long. We first need to figure out who are teaching what they know,
Yeah.
so that we can unlearn, help them unlearn things that they think they know. And I think this is all comes from the same place of, I think that we need to be slowing down a lot more, looking at the Old Testament a lot more, and rethinking questions
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm with you. All that stuff
Bam.
that sounds good.
bam.
All right, my
Boom,
last
boom, boom.
one is I kind of slammed a bunch of things together, but
That's fair.
here we go.
That's fair. I did too. I just gave you 2 or 3 of mine.
Yeah, I know. But I guess in short, it's just this is going to be sort of obvious when I say it. So I like being encouraged. Like I've had, you and I before have talked about like love languages and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely like, I love people telling me I'm great at stuff. So that's
The greatest stuff.
yeah. Thanks, Andrew. You're like my second favorite Griffith. I'll let you guys work out the ranking system. But there is something like there is something about the way we receive certain things, right? Like, and how we're wired to receive that stuff. That like, it's just weird to me that it's. I'm sure there's a beauty in it too, but it's mostly just strange that like that everybody else loves in different ways than we love, right? Or they, and so that's like, and I know like Jason, one of Jason's great strengths is encouragement. So it's one of the reasons we're good friends, because I love to be encouraged and you love to encourage people. So it works out perfect. But like, I've been kind of thinking about that. And then along those lines about how much I love to be encouraged, that you would think that would translate into me doing more encouraging, but it doesn't usually. But this week in particular, I've just had a few friends and like people I'm connected to have really weird, bad medical things. So like, if at the same time I'm kind of recognizing like, man, I really love being encouraged, I'm also spotting these people in my life who really need to be encouraged. So it was like, so I like when those things sort of come together in ways that are almost too obvious to sort of miss.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, a lot of times for me, it's like, hey, would you pray for this person? And like, yeah, I'll pray for that person. And I do, but that's kind of it for me. Like, it's like, all right, I prayed for them. But these people are all close enough to me that I have to like legitimately, oh man, this is something I have to think about all week and check in on and make sure they're doing well. And that kind of, you know what I mean? Like it changes the conversation and the dynamic in my brain at least.
I love it when certain things pull things out of us,
Yeah.
Like I have a similar thing. I love when people make me food.
Yeah.
That's why I weigh 300 pounds. But I don't weigh 300 pounds. Close, but not.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. It's a goal. It's a goal of mine. It's a New
Fact
Year's.
check the podcast. Yeah. We'll come back and correct it later.
But the other day I was, I was going to make a bagel for myself. So I made a bagel for my daughter because I know she loves bagels, and I made a bagel for my son. Then I took it the other extra mile and I said, "Hey, Malia, you want to make you a bagel?" And I think it's maybe the first time in maybe 3 or 4 months that I've actually served her food rather than she's just always serving me food. But it's a no-brainer. It was like I love it when we ought to know better.
Yeah, that's the
For
thing.
some
right?
reason, there's certain moments where God just like turned on a light bulb and says, "Hey, idiot, just just take one more step. Just push the toaster down one more time."
Right.
And
So, I'll close with this, Jason. My favorite Malia story ever. A group of us, including you and me and Malia. I can't remember who else is there. Maybe Kellen. But we went to this.
Kill it.
I think we went to this like Chinese food place in the quarry, and we're all sitting around eating, having fun, and like they have free refills on their drinks, but you have to go up and get them. It's one of those fountain drinks, and so I start to get up, or I'm thinking about getting up to get mine, and you say, "Hey, why don't you fill up mine too?" And I said, "Sure," and then you said something like, I'm always looking for a chance to serve." And then Malia, out of the side of her mouth, says, "Yourself."
I am a poster child for selfishness.
Yeah, I'm with you.
uh,
But it made me
yeah.
laugh so hard. I've laughed about that forever because it's just how quick Malia was on that one was fantastic.
She's quick. She's been on her game too. She's been hilarious.
She's cut. She could do roast battle. I feel like.
Yeah, she could rip your soul apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sure like you, Greg, and thanks for being a guest, Andrew.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Great job, Andrew and Jamie. Thank you.
Jamie Griffiths, Andrew Griffiths, Jason Warren Griffiths. We're signing
Gretchen,
out.
Jamie's mom. Thanks for listening.
Oh yeah, Gretchen, she's awesome.
She's the real MVP. So
A plus.
spread the word. Pass it along.
Pass it along. We're going for
Give us- I
298.
discovered we need people to rate the podcast on iTunes. If you can
Rate it.
go a step beyond subscribing and just say, "Hey, this was amazing," that'll help too. So
Put a couple stars next to it, and then
all right,
people.
so we're off for a couple of weeks. We'll be back at the end of August, middle to end of August, kind of when school is starting, and then we'll jump back into our rhythm. Have a great
I love you,
vacation,
brother.
guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.